welcome back. Today, we are going to have a show that might bring you back to your childhood. Did you ever make model airplanes or model cars or model anything? Well, we have with us today a pro. This is a man who's been making all kinds of things. In fact, the same man we had a while ago who brought in an actual, I call it a canoe, he'll correct me. My name is Dacquino. His name is Clark Darling. Clark, man, what a pleasure to have you here.
I'll correct you right now.
What is it called? It's not a canoe.
I built an Adirondack guide boat, and it sat right out there.
That's right.
It was 13 feet long.
And it was absolutely gorgeous. All handmade by you.
Correct.
And pretty much designed by you as well, yeah?
I used a plan that would give you all the specifications, and then I had to loft it. Now that's when lofting a boat means that you're drawing full-size lines and full-size ribs from just a bunch of numbers.
Wow.
And that's how it's done, and it takes time to loft the boat.
The only thing I've ever done by numbers is paint by numbers, and it didn't quite look like a painting.
I lofted a boat, and I got the plans for that from the Adirondack Museum in Blue Mountain Lake.
Wow. It was a gorgeous piece. Well, in addition to making these wonderful boats, you are a model builder. We should go back, though, a little bit and talk about what you did with this talent. You actually shared it with children. For a long time, you were a technology teacher. Of course, in those days, it wasn't called a technology teacher.
No, it was industrial arts.
You were industrial arts, or we used to call it wood shop.
Yep.
So you taught children how to make things, such as models, but your models are a little more intricate than what you actually taught the kids to make.
That is correct. I started model building. My first models I built of cars, 1948.
Wow.
I built a paper and plastic kit that I got to Hobby Shop, which was a Model T Ford. Then I built a metal one, which was another kit of a 1928 Packard touring car. And my brother has those models to this day.
I wish I
didn't
had
know
one.
he saved them when they moved upstate.
Wow.
And they showed up.
I used to do hot rods, and my favorite part was the decals at the end. And I put the little flames on the side with the numbers on it.
They were the plastic.
The stripes, the plastic, yep.
Yes.
And they came in kits, and I would go out and buy these kits and then put it together with the glue. I'd have glue all over my hands, all over the desk, all over the car.
True.
But it was so much fun and then the painting, that I liked to do. I mean, we painted like candy apple red.
Well, that was the individual, where you individualize your model.
Yep.
And basically that's what I do. All right, let's go to 1984. Over there is a model, what looks like an old-time Model T.
Yeah.
That is built out of pine and walnut. And I found that plan in an old woodworking magazine, and I copied that one pretty close to what they had said, but I always have to add my little details.
Yeah, of course.
So
you
I
have
added
to personalize it.
I added a bumper, I added a license plate, I added
There it is there.
I added a exhaust pipe. Yes, that's it.
Wow,
Now,
that is amazing.
that is the very first one I made, and you'll notice there's no bumper.
Now, did you have to make those parts?
I cut all those parts out on my machines.
Oh, my God.
And you can tell mine from the original because the wheels are a little smaller in diameter, a little fatter. I like that better than the tall, skinny wheels. And if you look at the bottom of that model, and that's a model patterned after a Model T truck. And if you look under the bottom, it'll say Matthew Darling, 1988. I gave him that for a birthday present. I think he was 4 years old.
Wow.
I had fun making those.
Yeah.
And
Now you have to sand all that, stain all that.
No stain. You use various color woods to get the contrast that you want. And then you finish it with either an acrylic or a varnish. And those were done with an acrylic.
Wow.
Others I do with varnish. Now, in 1985, 6, 7, right in that area, my wife and I would go to craft shows.
Yeah.
And I had a whole fleet of those. And I tried to sell them. Nobody wanted to pay me $25 for one.
Oh, jeez. All that work.
All that work was cheap.
$25, and they thought that was too much.
I sold a few for less than that, and then many of them I gave as Christmas presents.
Wow.
And I had both. I had a Model T with one was a truck and one was just the car. Fast forward to go backwards to the next item I made, which was 2013. On the truck down there is a front end loader. Yeah, that's it right there. I took a brochure on that particular dump truck, which is one you use on a construction site, and that is what they call a 3-axle soft earth dumper, because it's got those big wheels they use on a construction site. It doesn't go on the road. And I took a picture, and I built that from a picture. And what I did was I scaled it up from the picture. So some of the things you have to take a little bit of
creativity.
Yes. Artistic license, would you call it?
Artistic license, yeah.
And you have to accent certain features that if you did it in real scale, it would be so small you wouldn't see it. Wow. So you enlarge certain parts. And of course, I love to do it with different color woods.
Yeah.
Rather than painting it.
Sometimes people don't realize that wood has color and that certain woods are certain colors.
And texture.
And texture, yeah.
If you take a walnut wood, has a different texture than a maple.
Yeah, like cedar.
That's very soft. Yeah, there's different textures, and if you use the right finish, you can bring those textures out, and you can see them. That is finished with varnish. Now, when I built that, I am also a cabinet maker, and I build furniture. So I hand rub that varnish to give it the same finish that I would on a table.
And a cabinet maker is different from a carpenter. Cabinet makers does finished work. Is that the difference?
Furniture and cabinets. I do both. I am a carpenter also. And a lot of the cabinet work I do and furniture work, I design most all my furniture.
Wow.
Give you an example. In 1972, I was building a dining room set for my house.
Wow.
And back then, the influence was Danish modern. And I wanted to design a chair for this solid walnut table I made that weighed about 100 pounds because it was so thick, the material. Back then, you could get walnut reasonable. Now it's up to about $7 a foot.
Wow.
So in order to make that chair, what I did was I took corrugated cardboard and I cut it out full size, put it together with tape, and then I could trim various components to get the visual balanced look that I wanted. When I got done with that, I could take measurements from that cardboard, and I actually built a whole set of 6 chairs, which I still have, but no longer I have them in the house. I put them in the shed.
Want to sell them?
They need some work. Just a note about furniture design. One of the great, in my opinion, one of the great American designs in furniture were the Shakers. They made beautiful, they were geniuses.
Simple beauty.
Absolute geniuses at how they could get such light-looking, strong furniture and practical. And then we learn in design, Form follows function. Sometimes I look at furniture and it looks to me the other way around.
Yeah.
Form was not first. It was, form follows function. They said, get that
Furniture
function.
had to be reasonable,
Yeah.
easy to move,
Right, correct.
comfortable.
Yes. All right, the next item. After I built that front end loader, I says, wait a minute, we need to carry that thing. So I built the semi tractor trailer with a lowboy. And that's patterned after a Peterbilt.
Now that's this here.
There's a loader on the lowboy, which you can see has 3 wheels in the back, similar to what they have on the highway. And that is patterned kind of after a Peterbilt. Again, I went and I found a Peterbilt truck. I took pictures. I took a straight front. I took a side view, and I took a back view. And then I took that and I scaled it by measuring the picture with a dial caliper, which we use in the...
Clark, that is absolutely amazing. And
in
that's
the-
all wood.
That's all wood, and all those parts I got scale. I did it on my drawing board, and you notice the white and the dark, how I did the edging on the trailer, just to accent the fact that it's a trailer. It washes out when it's just one color wood, so you put a darker edging on it to have it stand out. All right, at the very top of the cab, you'll see there are the marker lights. They're a little bigger than standard, because if I made them scale, you wouldn't see them. Same thing with the grill. The grill on a Peterbilt has 3 bars. If you can hold that shot. There's 3 bars, and I made them thicker than what the real ones are because they would be so thin they'd be about the thickness of a needle. You wouldn't be able to see them. And also in the bumper, you'll notice there's little white dots.
Yeah.
I did that with a Forstner bit and plug cutters, and those are the lights. Then you'll see on the side of the engine compartment is an oval shape, same as Peterbilt. Look at the headlights. How do you make headlights? A dark body. You put the light wood at the front. There you go. There's a headlight. Those mirrors, they are made, the frame of the mirror is a piece of 16th-inch welding rod, and then I made the mirror white, and it's actually movable.
Wow.
Same thing with the exhaust stacks. I made them light colored so that they would contrast. Fuel tank, and then you'll see the step. That step looks like a box. Well, on the real vehicle, that's where the batteries are. Got that?
That is amazing.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
I don't want
Okay, so you also have made some other things. Go ahead. Tell me about that engine that you have there. What?
That dates back to 1960.
Wow. Okay.
And in 1960, I was teaching in Hastings High School. I actually started teaching here in 1959. So when I had to do my budget for 660, I put in for a brand new South Bend lathe, and I got it.
Wow.
And that engine is an EA Wall.
Look at that.
EA Wall. I bought all the castings from Octura models. They're still around, but I don't find that they can do these engines. That is a fully operational boat motor from 1925. It's all there. The carburetor's there, the float's there, the oiler's there, the spark plug, the rocker arms, the valves, everything is complete. The ignition system I removed. I used to run that for my kids. And when I got that model, I always wanted to and never did get a kit and build a triple expansion marine steam engine, which I built a little one when I was a kid. My dad helped me. It was very simple. But there are hours and hours of machining on that engine alone. Still operates.
All right, so talk to me about, now you also, again, you made a couple other things. What is this thing here with the propeller?
I'd like to go to something else for a minute.
Okay, go ahead. Your pace.
Architecture.
Architecture, okay?
There's model work in architecture and landscaping. So I started thinking, okay, where is it used? Where is it used? Railroaders, model railroaders. They set up whole towns and cities using models, houses, so on. In 1964, the New York World's Fair, down in, remember where it was?
I was there.
I think it was in Flushing, was it not?
Yep, yep.
And there was a model, a false model of New York City, complete with all the buildings, the streets, everything. Well, in 1960, one of my students who graduated from Hastings High School got a job working for the company, and I think they were in Thornwood, and he built quite a bit of that. That's kind of a connection for me. I do not know what happened to that model. I don't know where it is.
Huh.
I am president of the Kent Historical Society.
You sure are.
And when we would have donations, we own a one-room schoolhouse. So what I did was I built a model that was about 12 inches long of that schoolhouse with the chimney, put a hole down through the chimney.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
No, I keep it hidden in my cellar.
Oh, sure.
And it was, purpose was for donations. At Christmas time, we put Santa Claus on it. And so we got donations that way. Next deal.
Now we get the propeller. Wow.
This model airplane, and I'll move it because I can see it on the screen.
Yep.
I am a model airplane builder and flyer, and I've been doing it since 1984.
Wow.
In 1984, I built my first two models. I went out to Reno, Nevada to compete at the National Free Flight competition in Reno. Now, in airplane, where we're free flights, we have half A, B, C, D, and it goes by the size of the engine. This is a 15. This is an A-sized engine. The rest of the, according to rules, doesn't matter. All that governs the thing is the engine. Secondly, we compete, we have category 1, 2, and 3. Category 1, I don't fly. Category 2, once in a while. Category 3, and let me explain how it works. This airplane, we get 7 seconds of engine run.
Wow.
Plane has to glide for 2 minutes. And when that happens, you call it a max. So you have a timer, a person who times you, and you launch the airplane and they time the engine run. If you go over 7 seconds, it's an overrun, doesn't count. After 7 seconds, it goes into the glide pattern. Now, we designed these airplanes to fly in about a 200-foot diameter circle. And they have to glide for 2 minutes. So then you go get them back. Wait a minute. It's up there.
Uh-oh.
Or it's in a thermal. And I've seen them get in a thermal and just OOS, out of sight.
Wow.
So I have a timer on this side, and you can't see it, but if we can go just like this.
Turn it all the way around?
Yeah, let's turn it around.
Yeah.
Here's how you get it back. This timer, when it's running, watch what happens.
Oh, cool.
It cannot fly,
Wow.
theoretically.
Yeah.
And it comes down like a parachute. You get it, it lands, you hop on your motorcycle, chase after it, bring it back, you do it again. When you've done it 3 times, 7 seconds, 2 minutes, you go to what we call the fly-off. The fly-off is 5-second engine run, 2 minutes. When you get 2 of those, now you go to 4 seconds, 2.5 minutes. Very, very hard to do. So how do you get an airplane with 4-second engine run, which will probably get up to about 300-foot altitude, and it has to glide for 2.5 minutes? It won't do it normally. So we pick air. And the way we pick air, we look for thermals. Thermals are hot air rising.
Right.
So I have an aluminum pole. It's about 15 feet high. And on the end of that pole, I put a piece of Mylar. Or what I'm using now is the tape from a VHS, about 10 feet long. And you put that on the top of the pole and you put it way out there upwind and you watch it. And it'll be just fluttering, fluttering. And all of a sudden you'll notice it starts to flutter and rise. Okay, the thermal's coming through. You have to fire up that engine and launch into that thermal. We have motors, self-starters, so we can start them up and you launch it. And that, one airplane like that, when it hits terminal speed, will be close to 50 miles an hour. So you can figure out in 7 seconds it's going to get pretty high.
Wow.
But 4 seconds isn't going to get that high. That's an A. All models, all the models I now have, I designed them and built them. And this past year, I've been doing research and development, trying to figure out what are the secrets to get these planes to fly, because these guys fly and they won't tell you. So you got to figure it out for yourself. So I do my own engineering, read books, read articles, but with model airplanes, we do things that the big airplanes can't do.
Yeah.
They can't bend wings. We bend wings. We twist them out of shape to make them fly. Sometimes they don't fly.
Oh, God.
Sometimes they go crash. And
No, Clark, you also do boats, right? I'm looking at this boat in front of us here.
yeah, I wanted to radio control that with an electric motor.
Wow.
But then where do you sail it? Near my house is White Pond. And if I put it in White Pond and it fails and it's out in the middle of the lake,
Oh,
how do you
no.
get it?
Oh, my God.
So now you got to have
don't want to lose that.
Now you
after
have
all
to
that
have a
work.
rowboat to go get it. So I decided, forget it. I'm going to make it into a piece of shelf art. And
Oh,
that's
there you
what
go.
that is.
Yeah.
And basically that's what
It's really
all
just
those,
for display.
yes, basically that's what all those models are over there.
Yeah.
I display them on a shelf.
We're running. We have about maybe 6 or 7 minutes.
Okay. Looking at that construction equipment, I'm debating because I could end up with a whole construction company. I could build a crane. I could build a steamroller, or, you know, for rolling down the roads. All kinds of things I could build, but I got to design them, which means I have to get pictures to design them
How
from.
long does it take to make these models?
That boat right there, I'll bet you I have 200 hours in it.
Wow.
Because that is full scale. That is a full scale ribs, stringers, and planking. The individual planking on that is 7/16 of an inch wide, 1/8 of an inch thick. So every strip is planked. And on the deck, I inlaid a thin piece of cherry that shows you where the lines are on the deck. You know how they put the line?
Yeah.
Okay, when you look on that, all the aluminum parts I made by hand. All the fittings I made by hand. I made a steering wheel out of brass sheet and brass rod.
Wow. So, Clark, this is your passion, man. I mean, I have not seen so much passion. The hours and hours that it takes. And what amazes me is the perfection in even the things you can't see. Under that hull, there are things that you've done to make this thing realistic and right.
Yes.
So it isn't only what we see, it's even what we can't see that you perfect.
That's the hard part.
That's the hard part.
That's the hard part. Trying to get those frames exactly the right shape, lofted to the right shape, is difficult.
Now, do you still teach how to make these model buildings, or do you just...
No, let me tell you what I did do.
Okay.
When I retired, I hooked up with the science people, 1990-something, let's see, 95, and I designed a little glider airplane. It wasn't any bigger than this, and I taught it after school to second, third, and fourth graders, and they learned how to make a little glider and how to fly it. And I also taught them about aviation. I only did that for a year. I had a lot of fun doing that, but I had never worked with that age group before. Because when I worked with
it's tough.
with the junior, senior high, I had 13-year-olds up to 18-year-olds. So that was difficult.
Clark, we are down to the last 2 minutes.
Okay.
I see an award here. Talk to me. There we go.
This is the thing I'm really proud of. And let me read it. It says, Academy of Model Aeronautics National Air Modeling Championships 2016, 4th place, adult class, D-Gas, event organized by the National Free Flight Society. I've been building model planes since 1984. My brother-in-law got me into this. And that day, I took 4th place. I competed against the best guys in the country.
Wow.
First place was a man named Ronnie, who held the world record for a number of consecutive flights, 45.
Wow.
The second place guy was Jimmy. He is a member of my modeling club, the Brooklyn Skyscrapers. The third place guy, I won't say his name, but anyway, he used to win first place all the time.
Wow.
I was only 16 seconds behind him in 4th
man.
place. This was a plane I designed and built and flew and won in a national championship, which is, I'm really proud of that, because
You should be.
when you do it, the whole thing from nuts to bolts to the whole thing, and here you are.
Clark, the thing I hate most about having you on this show is that time flies. I always
Yep.
get so caught up in your wonderful passion. Thank you so much for sharing that passion with us. I hope that inspires people out there to use your hands, use your heart, use your art. Get out there, make the things you want to make. Create something that will last longer than you. Clark, thank you for being here. You are a gentleman and a scholar and an artist in every way. Thank you for all you do. And thank you for all those kids you taught for all those years. Thank you for tuning in and sharing Clark Darling's passion for model building.